do they tell you some of the things that could go wrong? What do they say?
Yeah, they're all there in the waiver. You might step on, on top of water coming in, breaching the thing, oxygen. They talk about noxious gases can be released, or you might step on a live wire. You know, you have to take sort of a working vessel.
How stable did it seem to you? That's come up now. It's not as sophisticated as we thought.
It's not sophisticated,
Yeah.
and that's its chief asset. It's just a tube. It's just the tube that sinks.
Right. You heard from Mike Reese a little earlier, who traveled in this very same submersible that's been missing all these days. I want to go right now to Bob Pizzini. He's a U.S. retired Navy, knows of the whole thing about diving and what to look for, what maybe to sort of track. Bob, it's great having you. A, what do you think is going on with these reports of noises or some sort of, at first they were saying they were pings or something that's coming from the ocean floor close to it. But what do you make of it?
So potentially those could be taps. The crew, if there's surviving crew, they could be tapping the side of the vessel, and passive sonar would pick up those taps. And if they were tapping with a frequency every 30 minutes, for example, that would be a sign of life as opposed to some random noise. And there's very smart people aboard this submarine. So if they're tapping, I would imagine they're tapping Morse code to some extent to more fully communicate and demonstrate proof of life.
When you go on these diving missions, and of course it's impossible for any human being to go down to these depths without being in something that can handle those depths, a submarine, what have you. So our options are few and far between. What do you think?
Well, there's not the only vessel that can deliver a human being to that depth is a submarine. And not just any submarine. It's a very specific equipment that can withstand the greatest pressures that the ocean has to offer. So it's a challenging undertaking, just given the depth. The depth makes this a very complex diving operation. And then duration of the dive, how long will the life support system last? How long is it designed for? In this case, I understand 4 days or 5 days. Probably over 2 hours of time is descent to the wreck site. Probably over 2 hours of time is ascent back to the surface. So there's a lot of complexity in this operation overall.
You know, a lot has been made of this growing armada of ships and vessels that are trying to help out in the search. I wonder what you make of that. We're getting reports of a British vessel that was blocked from joining this rescue. The Coast Guard is denying that's what happened, but some here have expressed concern that we can be overdone, that you could be tripping over yourself with those who are there to help and have all the right intentions. But what do you think?
Well, again, it's complex to go to that depth, 12,500 feet. A deep drone, or the Navy operates a system called Curve 21, which recently recovered an aircraft, a helicopter in 2021 from 19,000 feet of water off of Japan. So there is a system that can search, locate, identify, and ultimately facilitate a recovery. And I think a variety of those systems, the Navy isn't the only entity that owns and operates that system. And so it would appear that 3 or 4 other operators, commercial operators or other government operators, are arriving on scene, which I think is a good thing. You know, all hands on deck, so to speak. The clock is ticking here. If the vessel is in a survivable condition, then recovering it to the surface is going to be complex and time consuming.
To put it mildly. Thank you very much for your input on this, Bob